Hello again, everybody. Welcome to yet another edition of Journey Through Sports and Entertainment and Life. And we're delighted to welcome you all. This is Marnie, Marjorie, I'm Scott, and we're delighted to have you on board. We're going to be here for the next few minutes talking about sports, entertainment, life, all kinds of great things. And you are responsible for our special guest.
I
so
am.
why don't you take it away, my friend?
Well, I will do that. Thank you, Scott.
Go,
hey, Marjorie. Good to see you.
You are front and center.
So, yes, we have a great guest today. Well, all of our guests are great, but...
she's extra great.
Well, I think, yes, I would definitely say that. So, because she's my friend, like a lot of our guests are guests that we don't.
Well, she has
really...
a nice smile. That's a good start.
Yes, she does. And a warm and welcoming smile. And our guest today, I was introduced to not too long ago, but it was a kind of a great connection, a fortuitous connection. And we have a mutual friend. And she said, "You have to meet my friend Allison." And I was like, another person that I have to meet? I'm like, okay. I'm like, all right. And I trust this other person very much. So I said, absolutely, whatever it is. And so then she introduced me to our guest today, Allison Vanthof. And it was, like I said, a really great friendship immediately. We have a lot of things in common, and I'm super excited to have Allison on our show today. She's an entrepreneur. She's a woman in business. She's a mother. She's an advocate for incredible causes. And so without further ado, Allison, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much, Marnie. It's my true pleasure to be here on your show with Marjorie and Scott today. Thank you.
Where are you, Marjorie? Or Marjorie,
I'm right here next to you. All you have to do is turn to your
Marjorie.
left.
I just picked up on that. Where are you right now?
Where am I? I'm on your podcast.
No, but I mean, it looks like you're in a hotel lobby someplace. It's beautiful behind you. I see the Christmas tree and very festive.
Thank you. I'm in my little small bungalow of a home with my beautiful Christmas tree that my children and I decorated on Thursday and Friday night to get us in the Christmas spirit. So I'm sitting at my desk in my home in Manhattan Beach, California, where I live.
Beautiful.
Very nice. Yes, it looks absolutely lovely.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. I'm ready for Santa, Scott.
And what is on the gift list? What is it you're looking for this Christmas?
Oh my goodness. They're all things that money can't buy. Peace, happiness, joy, serenity, love, and laughter.
I'm thinking you've been a part of many of those things in the past, though, already, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm going to the bank on all those.
That's fantastic.
Well, so Allison, let's start off by talking about your current business endeavor, because you've had many. You're an entrepreneur. You know the licensing business inside and out of professional sports, but you have this incredible business called My Home Team Turf. What is My Home Team Turf?
My Home Team Turf is, thank you, Marnie. My Home Team Turf started out as a question, a needle in a haystack, a question that came to me through an industry colleague that works for one of the leaders in sports merchandise. And they prompted me to find out and think about what was missing in the tailgating space in sports. And so I thought very curious why these particular people were looking for that. And they called me, and, known for my out of the box thinking and being in business in this sports licensing space for 30 years, really focusing on fandom. It really was curious to me. So My Home Team Turf was an idea that I came up with when I was prompted that what is missing in the tailgating space. So I went into my team mom, event planner, and, fangirl sports fanatic, setting up my tailgate. I grew up in a very small town in North Carolina, right outside of Charlotte, called Belmont, North Carolina. So I grew up an ACC girl, loving football. I wanted to be Phyllis George. I wanted to be the first on-air broadcaster on the sidelines. And needless to say, now I'm here, doing what I'm doing with My Home Team Turf. And so I've loved football, and I thought, okay, I set up my tailgate. I have everything, whether the color palette is, orange and purple for Clemson, black and red for Georgia, garnet and black for SC, whatever that color palette was. I'm like, okay, why aesthetically isn't there a flooring component to really bring it all together? Because in our homes, a rug really is the continuity between, it brings all the pieces of furniture and everything together, right? It's like a masterpiece. So I knew that there were rugs that were officially licensed in the collegiate and the professional sports space, made out of polyester and nylons and cloth, and most of them are made in China. But I had never seen them used in the platform of tailgating. And then I thought, okay, well, this is football. Why isn't there a turf or some type of grass emulation rug in the market? So I spent a couple of days and researched it like crazy. And I found that there was nothing artificial turf, synthetic turf, nothing in the market that was officially licensed with college assets or professional sports asset in a welcome mat or a man cave or she shed rug, or in the tailgating space that would go under an 8x8, tent or 10x10 tent. So I called all of my colleagues that worked within the licensing space with all of the entities. They're all decision makers who make the decision on what company and what product gets officially licensed. And if you go into a Dick's Sporting Goods and you see a hard good, which is a cooler, a drinkware, a lanyard, or soft goods, which is apparel, everything is in a category that's officially licensed, and that's how licensing tracks sales within the space. And I said to all of my colleagues, I said, has anyone ever submitted this item, a turf welcome mat or a turf rug, to be licensed? All of them said, absolutely not. What are you thinking? And so I was just like, I have this idea. I've done this research. There's nothing like it in the market. You've just confirmed, because you are the decision makers of what is officially licensed. So I thought, okay. So I immediately started applying for licenses in different schools and within the MLB and the MLS space. The
So
NFL,
you have to do them with different, you couldn't
just
go like to the NCAA, but you have to do it with different schools and different teams and different. Wow.
Yes,
Okay,
Marjorie,
that's
it's
a
a
lot
really
of
good
work.
question. And when you're not in licensing, it's like you think exactly like, where do you go to get this license? Do you go to the individual institution? No, there's several licensing agencies, entities that govern college licensing.
Okay.
Learfield, which is CLC, which actually Bill Battle, he just passed away. He founded it like 30 plus years ago. There's Fanatics Licensing, which governs 6 of the Big Ten, which were the Pac-12, but are now the Big Ten schools. And then there's another entity that governs like an Ohio State. And there are some schools like a USC of Southern California and a few others that govern their own asset independently. So I knew all of those people. I've worked with them all. So I went to those decision makers in those entities and said, what I just said, has anyone ever presented this item? And they all said no. So I started applying for schools that I didn't have. I started reaching out to manufacturers, like, how could I get this made? I've been in the consumer products space for 30 years. I produced things from China to Bangladesh, India, Mexico, and the United States. And I just knew that this product was going to be a challenge to get manufactured in the United States. Over the past couple of years, so essentially, let me back up. My home team turf is the first ever officially licensed professional sports turf welcome mats and rugs for tailgating, man caves, and she shed.
Wow.
It elevates your tailgate, it elevates your home, and is part of and my home team turf is the foundation of moments where memories are made and cherished for a lifetime. And so that's what my home team turf is. And so over the past 2 years, prior to this past September, as Marnie knows, I was very challenged with finding the right manufacturer. I was like the Goldilocks of turf, trying to find out. I was like either too high or too low, and I couldn't get it right. I did focus groups with various people in different markets, whether it was an SEC market or an ACC market, or here in Southern California, which is a completely different mindset in the tailgating mind, in the framework of in the mindset of a tailgater, right? In fandom here. And so finally, I was like so frustrated because I couldn't believe I couldn't figure this out, because here I am, I have 100% market share in a $33.9 billion industry of officially licensed products, both professional and college. And I was the one that came up with the idea. I was getting all these schools to give me the license that loved this product, that felt that it would really elevate and be a really amazing product to, represent their brand in the aesthetic of the tailgating space and fandom, right? So built for tailgate, built for game day. In August of last year, I almost gave up because it had been 19 months. I had thrown everything that I had, my 401k, my IRA, literally almost lost my house.
Wow.
Trying to do this because I know this space and I knew I was onto something. And I thought, I had all the licensing directors at the schools, the agencies, they were all behind me. They were protecting me. They knew that I had something also, but I had to do the work. So I just prayed about it and meditated on it. And I said to the universe and to God, I'm like, why me? You've given me this idea. I've got all the people in the industry behind me. I had buyers go that, like, you can have a great idea, but if you don't have distribution, it's just a great idea sitting in a folder on your desk in your house, right? So I had everyone in college and sports licensing, from licensing directors to institutions to retail buyers, ready to embrace this product. And I couldn't figure it out. So finally one day I went to church, I came back, and I'm just like, there has to be a turf company out there that can make this for me. It can be a palatable price point for the consumer, and they can make it hopefully here in the United States. So I researched it and I found Shaw Industries. They're in Calhoun, Georgia. And Shaw Industries is a Berkshire Hathaway company, which is a Warren Buffett company. So I reached out to them, and 2 weeks later, I was sitting in their office with all of the executives with Shaw Sports Turf and Shaw Grass, and they had spent several years prior to me going to their office and reaching out to them, developing a proprietary and patented technology called Create Turf, which is a decorating method that prints on synthetic turf. And they just didn't know how to. They knew it could be in sports. They knew it had a lot of different applications, but they didn't know any way how to do it because they're a B2B, company, and this is a very B2C perk company. So I went in, I introduced myself, my 30 years experience, talked about my home team turf, the journey that I'd been for 18 months. And here I was sitting with all of them, kind of like with you guys at the boardroom. There was 10 people in the room, and we walked away, and this was this time last year. Wow. So I walked away. They're my manufacturer. Our product is made in Calhoun, Georgia. And we just kind of went balls out and went to the tailgate show in January, which is where every buyer in the world goes to see all of the products.
Where was the show?
From hard goods to soft goods. And does their purchase for the year,
in
right?
New York, or where is the show? I'm trying to envision this.
It's in Las Vegas.
Oh, okay.
It's in Las Vegas, and it's the largest in sports, consumer product sports trade show in the industry.
Wow.
And so we went there, I exhibited, and the hands down was just amazing. We did great sales. We got great feedback. We ended up getting the Major League Baseball license from that show. We got the Major League Soccer and one of the premier soccer leagues. And so this year, so that's basically what my home team turf is.
Wow. Wow.
this
That's
point.
incredible. I mean, you really had the determination. You say you almost lost your house. I mean, you knew this was going to be something that would be a success in the market.
I did. I read this thing this morning. It said that, fear and faith do not equate. And if you have fear, then you don't have faith. And if you have faith, then you should not have fear. And it was a reminder for me today, like even before getting on this call, is it's super scary, even to this day. I've realized that, I realized how truly resilient I am. I realized all the blessings of my skill set, the people that have come into my life throughout my career that have been a part of my very blessed career that I'm super grateful for. I'm super grateful for the friendships along the way. And all of those relationships and knowledge and skill set has really helped me get to this point today. And, we're still massaging the price point. In September, I went out and did boots on the ground. I needed to be in the front of the consumer. I pulled a wagon through 15 college tailgates this season.
Wow.
And had people feel and touch it and get consumer feedback, the price point, the quality. Would they buy it? Would they buy it at this price point? And so I'm ready to go to the tailgate show in 5 weeks and manage the price point where I need to so that the buyers will embrace it the way that I know that they will. And the end of January will be a very, very telltale of all the work and the sacrifice, the determination, and the people that have believed in me along the way. It will continue to grow, or it will be what it's going to be.
Where do we fit in?
Where do you fit in?
Yeah.
Wow. That's a great question, Scott. Well,
I was just kidding with you. I mean, we've listened to you. I mean, you've gone on and on and on. It's amazing what you've done and what you've accomplished. And so I just wondered, as you move forward now, what's yet to be done? In other words, if you had to say the top 2 or 3 things that this will just take it to the top. This is what I hope to achieve in the next year. What comes to mind?
Brand awareness and aligning with people that believe in the product, not because as an influencer or a brand ambassador or a member of our team that joins my home team turf as part of the brand and the company, that really sees that one's work has to have a why, and that if they can be part of this and help elevate the brand across the country, that this is absolutely unequivocally the best must-have item that you can have for tailgating that represents your alma mater or your professional team, that when you see those colors on a turf rug, whether it's welcoming your fans and friends into your front door or at your office or at your tailgate, it's a must-have, and it's something that everyone needs. How can you help? Help me spread the word.
Yeah.
Help me identify, we can discuss and collaborate ways to position in front of the right audiences, whether it's holiday gifting, Father's Day gifting, graduation. Football season is 4 months away. It's never too late to celebrate your team. It's only March, but hey, you always go to college. And that's one of the things I found that with professional athletes is that they may play for the Philadelphia Eagles or the, Carolina Panthers, but they did not change their college, at least back in the day. Now it's a completely different story.
Yeah.
But when they graduate from Georgia, they are always going to be a Georgia Bulldog. Like Matthew Stafford, he is always going to be a Georgia Bulldog. And so how can you help me, Scott? Gosh, having me on your show is a blessing. Helping me figure out how to work with you, how to create the brand awareness, we want to align with Ronald McDonald House. If there's a way to, we've been down the road on that, but if there's a way of doing synergistic, ways that just getting people aware that this product, it's new, it's different. It's not a need, it's a want. So in marketing, it's like, what is going to make me decide that these glasses are not a need? Because I already have a pair of glasses, but I want them because of 1, 2, 3, 4. So I would say brand awareness and aligning with finding ways of, consumer engagement that I have thought of or haven't thought of, but maybe don't have the resources.
Do you see this a product like in dorm rooms? You mentioned
Absolutely.
the kids coming to school.
Absolutely. We when we rolled out in September, there were several schools that had the product in their retail footprint for back to school. And so parents bought the product for their children's dorm room, whether it was the 20 by 30 to go in front of their door or a 4 by 6 to go in there. A lot of the dorms have 4 bedrooms and then they have the common area. Yeah. A couple people bought the 8 by 8 to put in that common area. So absolutely, this is a dorm room product.
Have you got anything that you can show us? Any samples?
I do. If you give me a minute, I'll run into my warehouse, my garage.
Like all great entrepreneurs, that's where everything happens, in the garage.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that is it.
Give me like 120 seconds. I'll be right back.
Okay.
All right, I'm timing you right now.
Great. Yes, that's right.
Okay.
Okay. Let me ask you a question. Where did you guys go to college?
Okay.
University of Rochester.
And Arizona State University.
And Penn State.
I know Penn State.
Yeah.
Where did you go, Marjorie?
Arizona State.
Oh, we have that license, but I don't have a sample here. But let me grab a couple.
Okay. Oh, good. They have the license. Well, then I'm going to be making a purchase.
So listening to Allison, it's so entrepreneurs we're like professional athletes, because you have to believe in the dream, believe in the mission, believe in whatever it is, and then that is how you end up getting to the next level. But I guess that's how it is for everybody. If you don't believe in what you're doing, you're never going to get anywhere.
Right. But I just think, excuse me, it's wonderful that she believes in it so much that she put so much at risk because she knew that this was something that was going to be successful in the market. And that's really when you know what you're doing, you aren't afraid.
Right. Well, my grandfather would always say, you can't live in fear.
Right, right. And I like what she said. If you have fear, you don't have that faith. You have to have that faith in order not to
same
have
letter,
that fear.
but different meaning, different word.
Yeah, exactly.
Faith and fear. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, well, I'm
Absolutely.
looking forward to taking a look at this because it sounds like a great product. And
Well, she's got a minute. She's got a minute left.
One more minute. All right.
One more minute.
I'm surprised that there's not
59,
anything like that
58,
already in the
57,
market because it just sounds
56.
intuitively such a good idea.
Right. And I've seen them, and they're a great product. And it's something, like she said, it is a want, because you don't necessarily think, I really need to go out today and go buy.
Here she comes. Here she comes.
Okay, here we're going to be the big reveal here. All
Here
right.
she comes.
1 second.
Okay. But a lot of things when you're a fan are wants and not
That's
needs.
right. Well, I
people
think
buy jerseys and things
all
like
of
this.
it. It's all stuff that will make you feel
Connected.
proud to be a fan.
Right.
And that you want to show your fandom
Absolutely.
in any way that you can.
Yeah.
And-
Allison, are you close by?
Okay. So she went right
She
back
got-
to her
She's got 10 seconds.
her warehouse.
Right.
8.
Yes.
But it's funny,
7,
you think about,
6.
entrepreneurs, so many of them started in the garage. I
Yeah,
mean, whether
exactly.
it's Apple computers, Jeff Bezos, Amazon, you take your garage
Yeah.
and you make it into your think tank, and then you are able to start, take a hobby of sorts
Yeah.
and then turn it into a
something
business.
big,
1 second.
like they've done.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's fantastic.
Is there anything? All right. While we're waiting for Allison, is there anything? What do you like as a fan? Do you have any possessions other than like jerseys that are?
Yeah, I do.
Special
And
fan
Scott has
things?
a lot. I mean, helmets and everything else. But Scott's list will be long. I'll give you my short list. We have a couple of framed newspapers that are headlines and pictures of championships from some of our teams. We've got a football rug.
Is the newspaper, is the article written by you?
No,
okay.
not
Okay.
written by me, but
Okay.
and then some rugs. We have little miniature helmets, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
What do you have?
I have different things like that. I got to carry the torch in the Atlanta Olympics in 1996, so I have my torch. That's kind of a special thing. Oh my gosh, she's back.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
She's back.
I'm back.
Great.
Well, I
can't
tell you
wait
what,
for the
Allison,
big reveal here.
it's been great to have you on the show today. We really appreciate the time, and we'll simply say thanks and see you next time.
That's
Cheers.
funny. Yeah. Okay, let's see. I'm excited
All right.
for this.
Okay, so I'm going to show you the very first one first.
Okay.
You're the first to see it. It's the World Series for the LA Dodgers.
Okay.
And and if you can picture, excuse me, let me just take a sip of my hot tea. If you can picture, like carpets being made on a 15-foot wide manufacturing machine, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're pulling the threads of the synthetic nylon turf, right? And it comes out in a roll. And yarn turf starts out white because cotton is white. Yarns are white, right? And so as the carpet is being made, the turf is being made on this carpet machine, it's actually printed, it's computerized, which is that technology I was telling you about, Create Turf, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's actually printed green, and it's a Pantone color that was chosen to emulate the field turf. And it's like all these tiny different colors of green that make up the turf. But this is the Los Angeles Dodgers World Series one, and
Oh, well, nice.
And what's that made out of?
this is turf. And so what I wanted to show you is, so here is here's a raw piece of a raw rug, welcome mat. And on the back is the rug part, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like it's the fiber backing, the polyurethane backing.
Right.
And you can see that it's printed. So I have to print this. It's called dead space, right? Like bleed space. So then this is the finished product.
Oh, okay. Nice.
It has non-skid rubber backing. So after it's printed, it goes to the next phase to have non-skid rubber backing put on the back. And then it's got serged edges. So I wanted it to be elegant, right? And then here is a custom label that is being sewn in to the bottom of every rug. Welcome mat.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. What's the
So-
feel? Like if
So anyway,
you're
Here's
barefoot.
the New York Yankees. Here's one.
And what would something like that cost?
So this sells for $149 in market, and
And where do you find
we
it?
have a 25% off sale. Here's another New York Yankee one.
And where
Allison,
do you? And
two questions. Marjorie asked, "What does it feel like?" And Scott asked, "Where do you find it?"
We have a website. Number one, we have a website called My Home Team Turf. And what does it feel like? It feels like turf. It feels like it's abrasive. It's turf, like on the actual football field. And so here's a color palette similar to you for ASU. Here's USC.
Oh, okay. Uh-huh.
You know,
Yeah.
Where's
And,
where's the
but, like,
Dallas
literally,
where's
you
the
could,
Dallas
like, it
Cowboys
would
one?
exfoliate your face.
Where's the Dallas Cowboys one?
We have to get the license first.
Uh-huh.
Ah,
I've applied for the NFL license, and we're moving to the next stage. So
very cool.
here's another.
Okay,
here's a
with Clemson.
paw.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And where's your company?
Colorado Buffalo,
Where's the manufacturing company that makes all these?
Georgia?
Calhoun, Georgia.
Okay, that's what you mentioned before. That's what you were talking about. That's what's there? Okay.
Yes. Here's a really cute one. We work with the USC, obviously. and this is Traveler.
Oh, okay. So you have
He's
different
so cute.
versions for each school then.
Yeah. So that's one of the best sellers for USC.
Wow.
Where'd you go to school?
I went to Pepperdine in Malibu.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So, Allison, how did you go from Belmont, North Carolina to Pepperdine?
Well, I was going to go to University of North Carolina. I was a broadcast journalism major, and my mom lived here in California, and I lived with my grandparents in Belmont. And so I wanted to move from North Carolina, and I really would have gone anywhere. But my mom, it was a small town, and I still communicate with a lot of my friends that are still there. And in fact, Marnie, when I posted that on Facebook that we were at the Panther game, they're like, "Oh, you were in town and you didn't call us?" And I'm just like, "Stop, just stop." But my mom lived in California. She lived here in Manhattan Beach. My mom was actually a student at the time. She worked for she wrote computer programming for one of the defense companies out here, and also was getting her master's at Pepperdine, at Pepperdine in Malibu. And so I came out to visit her, and I came out here and I was just like, I'm not going back. And I went back and I finished out my junior year of high school. And I was, on the cheerleading team. I was like so involved in my community, with my high school, with all the friends that I had grown up with. But I made the decision that I was going to come and live with my mom my senior year of high school. Worst decision ever. But then I wanted to go to college here. So because the way that state's curriculum is written, it's written for those particular state colleges. So because I was still considered an out-of-state student, I could only go to a private school. So I applied for Pepperdine and I got in, and I went there and graduated with a degree in, international business and advertising, and I've stayed here, and I've lived here ever since. So
I spent a lot of time out there, Thousand Oaks, California, which is not that far from you. That's where
not at all.
That's where the Dallas Cowboys had their training camp in the 70s and the 80s. And when I was just a punk kid out of school and just, begin my broadcasting career, we were up. But one of my favorite restaurants on the planet, Joffrey's in Malibu.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I met Robert Redford there. I met Chevy Chase and the staff, or the crew from Saturday Night Live. They were all having dinners at different times there. But I just love Joffrey's.
Oh my gosh, I've only been there actually one time, and it was right after graduation. I had a Midori cocktail. It was green. I had never had Midori before. And I had this Midori cocktail. I was 21 years old, and it was at Joffrey's.
Yeah.
That's my memory.
You ever been there?
I've been there. Yes, it's beautiful.
Love that place right there on the ocean.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's why it's hard to.
It's scary because they had the really bad fires out there this week.
Right. Were they affected by it?
Pretty much contained them, but it's still real scary out there.
Yeah, it sure is.
So, how did you get into the sports space?
Well, I've always been involved in sports. I was a cheerleader since I was 5 years old, all the way from 5 years old, all the way through college, and middle school, high school, college, Mighty Midgets. And I'd always loved sports, living with my grandparents and being so close with my grandfather. He owned a business in Belmont. Well, actually, he was the president of the company. He didn't own it. He was the president and manager of Belmont Box Company. But he loved baseball. He met Babe Ruth. He was a huge fan of the Yankees. And he taught me everything that I know about business, relationships, and about sports.
Wow.
And he said that, he taught me about baseball, and, he would have one earpiece in this ear and one earpiece in this ear, and the black and white TV on, listening to 3 games, and and telling me, okay, well, oh no, he's going to do a squeeze, no, he's going to bunt, no, he's going to move him over, oh, that was a sacrifice. And so I learned about baseball from my grandfather when I was very, very young. And then I just learned from sports, Marjorie, that it was a way that I could communicate with my father. I could communicate with people that, I wouldn't normally be able to communicate with. And I found that I started finding that, sports is really a connector in conversation. And, you're not really sure, like coming into this meeting, like what your background is, or your background is, or my background. But if you find that commonality about sports, whether it's tennis or golf or cricket or bowling or football, there's that commonality. And so I just got introduced to sports from my grandfather and found that it was the great communicator with my relationship with my dad and with my grandfather. And then being a cheerleader, I love the camaraderie. I love the spirit of it. I love how, sports brought everybody together. Like, there's nothing like Friday Night Lights when, the band and the drum roll and the majorettes are walking out and we're running out in front of the team. And, I just loved that. I loved that environment. I loved every essence of it. And I loved being a girl, that could talk sports.
Yeah, definitely.
I didn't know all the statistics, but I knew what plays were. I knew what strategies were, and I would watch it. I was a student of it. But like I said, I wanted to be Phyllis George. I wanted to be that woman reporter on the sideline. And so when I was in college, I put myself through college doing on-air talent. I did commercials, television series, a few movies. I worked a lot in Japan because I went back to UCLA through their extension program, and then through a international school of business in Akasaka, Japan, to learn Japanese. So I was fluent in Japan. I was fluent in Japanese. And then I started working just with a hotel company. I got out of sports because I wanted to be on the business side of it. So I would be on location, asking all of the art directors, like, how many times did it take you to get this storyboard? Or, how did you come up with this idea? Blah, 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 blah. And I got into the business side of it. And so that's when I changed my major from broadcast journalism to advertising and marketing, but always wanting to be in sports. When I graduated from college, I, worked with a hotel company, traveled and worked for two ad agencies, and then got into sponsorship sales through clients that I had. I was married to a professional tennis player, and got into working with the ATP and the WTA, selling sponsorships. So always like in that sports element. So from there, I went into working for a consumer products company, working in the entertainment side of it at Paramount Pictures and Universal. So I got to infuse the entertainment part of it, and, cultivating and curating marketing programs, helping them with their budget, coming up with the promotional campaigns. And then just through that, always, then I started working with, NFL teams because, 19 years ago, they weren't working with one company that could govern all of their promotional marketing and strategies. They could work with a company like myself. And so I just think that, everything just kind of snowballed through relationships, and my work would just continue to open up doors, and, just people would hear about my work. And, next thing I know, I'm working with with the NFL or with the Ultimate Fighting Championship, helping them build their consumer products program, which, I developed their entire merchandise collection for 20 years. And, but stepping back out into the football space, my feet were always there. It was all about the fans always, and it wasn't even about the sport. It was whatever environment I was in line with that consumer, whether I was setting up an event, activating a sponsorship, it was all about the customer, the client, and the fan. So I've worked in every aspect of it. From there, I got hired by Jimmy Connors. I ran his senior tour for 4 years as his tournament director, and brought in like Mercedes-Benz, United Airlines. And from that, I was just like, went into what I'm doing today is that branding relationships and working with brands to build their brand story through consumer products, through corporate partnerships, doing those activations, and being privileged to meet coaches that work in the NFL and working with their charitable component and producing events for them where we elevate awareness, whether it's cancer, American Cancer Society, Homes for Casa with BA, or Coach Rivera, pancreatic cancer as well. So wow. I just think it's all kind of gone full circle. And, in this space that I'm now in with college and coming up with this idea of my home team turf, I was telling Marnie that it's really brought my entire career together.
Yeah,
every
sounds like
touch point of what I've done in my career has helped me be having this conversation with you. It's really positioned my home team turf to, I believe, a household name in the future if I can really get that price point to where it's going to be, create brand awareness, continue to build brand awareness, starting like next, tomorrow. But that's how, kind of like in a nutshell, without going into detail, an overarching lens into my career.
Well, I would like to ask you a question about when you might have seen yourself as an entrepreneur. But before I get to that, you mentioned working for a couple of films and worked in marketing and that kind of thing. Any movies or anything that we've heard of that you had a footprint in?
Oh, yeah. I mean, for 9 years, I worked with Paramount, and
what are some of the movies?
Like How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days,
Oh
The
my
Hunted,
God, my kids love
Failure
that.
to Launch, The Longest Yard,
Mm-hmm.
like Friends. I did all the rebranding of Friends with Warner Brothers.
Oh, wow.
So anything that actually they sell, they still sell like 240 of the products that I developed that represent the Friends IP. Wonder Woman, Batman, I rebranded Field of Dreams when they relaunched that. Scarface when they relaunched that.
Wow, this is interesting.
How about our show? Journey through sports, entertainment, and life.
Yeah,
Are you going to be able
let's
to
get that one rebranded.
You know what? I when I was doing my research last night, I was thinking that you really need to reach out to this girl that I know that could probably help you.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll have to give that some.
Well, also, Marjorie wrote. I'm gonna brag about Marjorie here for a second. Marjorie wrote a book called "When the Men Were Gone," and that is how we got connected. And this book is incredible. And I'm gonna let Marjorie talk about her own book, but it's being turned into a movie. Right now.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. The script has just gone through some revisions, and I know yesterday the producers and the screenwriter all got together, and they've been doing table reads and all this kind of stuff. So, and it's a story about a woman who coached football in a small town in Texas during World War II. So thank you for mentioning that.
Well,
Marnie.
I think, yes, because I also think that like the whole process of getting a movie made is an entrepreneurial endeavor as well, because you have to put all the pieces together to get it, to get somebody to be interested or to make it happen.
Yeah. So you've experienced that. Did that actually play a part in how you decided to become an entrepreneur?
I was an entrepreneur the day I was born. I believe that when I was 12 years old, I was walking home from school one day, and I saw a man selling fruit out of a truck, and I stopped to get some fruit from him to take home. And I started talking to his customers that would pull over on the side of the road, and I helped him sell fruit.
Oh, wow. And
I'm
about
like,
how old
"God,
were
this
you
is
at
really
this time?
cool. You make this much money and you're selling fruit." And, he was Hispanic. And I just think that seeing my mom struggle, even though she had good jobs, I, I don't, it's something I never thought about. I saw people work in corporate environments. My grandfather, my grandmother, in their mill, it was a mill town. So there was 3 shifts, and my grandfather made me go work at different times in my life at all 3 shifts. So I would know how people really live that wake up and go to work from 12 to 5 a.m.
Yeah.
and from 6 p.m. till 12. I always, I believe, Marjorie, in like a roundabout question. I've never been asked that question before. I think that it's just in my DNA because I always want to make things better. I always find a different way to do things. I'm always trying to elevate an experience, and I like to make things happen, and I like to be in control of making things happen. And when it's my decision and it's my pocketbook, I can make those decisions and I can activate on things more quickly than going through the bureaucracy of corporations that I found out. And I found that in working with companies, especially like the studios, and I've worked with Paramount, Universal, I work with Fox Sports, having the license and working with all of these global brands, their mindset was very structured, very business model. Their business model was very structured, very strategic. It was very, step 1 leads to step 2. You never go to step 5. But they would always call me to get to step 5 because I was like the person that wasn't internal. So I think that when did I know that I was an entrepreneur? I don't think that I ever I never labeled myself as an entrepreneur. It's just who I am. It's my mindset. I'm creative. I'm an out of the box thinker, and I like to make things happen. I like to do things. I like to curate opportunities and experiences. And if that's an entrepreneur, then that's me, and I do it relentlessly. I love to work. I love what I do, and I never look at a clock when I'm working because it's about getting that project done.
Well, guess what? We've got to look at a clock, and we've only got 2 minutes left.
Okay.
So,
oh my gosh, it's already gone.
My quick question to you is, how many kids do you have?
I have 2 children. I have a son, 25, who was a student athlete who played soccer at Lynn University in Florida.
Oh.
And I have a daughter, 23, who just graduated from Clemson last year, and she works for Fanatics.
So you were in 2nd grade then when you had your children?
Basically, I was born with children.
Yeah. Okay.
Don't we all feel that way?
In the final minute that we have, what is it, with all that you've shared with us as an entrepreneur and what have you, what is the 1 or 2 lessons that you've taught them? You got 1 minute. What is the most important thing you've tried to share with them?
With who?
With your children.
Oh, with my children. Oh.
I mean, you're quite the mom. So I just wondered what's important as a mom.
What I share with my children on a daily basis is to be relentless in your pursuit for excellence. Always stay true to your core values, your moral compass, your integrity, and your character. Never lie, cheat, or steal. Be honest, have integrity, and if you do your best, you will have the result that you're hopeful for. And if you don't do your best, then you have to accept the result that you're going to get. But never give up on something that you believe in. Always bet on yourself, and be happy and joyful, and surround yourself with like-minded people.
So good advice,
Sounds
not only for
great.
your children, but good advice for all of us.
Everyone, yeah.
That's what I figured you'd say something like that. That's outstanding. Outstanding. Well, I tell you what, you have been a joy to listen to. We could go for another hour, for Pete's sake, and I'm sure learn a lot more. So Marnie and
I learned
Marjorie.
a lot too.
Well, I tell you what, Marjorie and Marnie and I are going to be calling you because we need some more help from
That's right.
your entrepreneurial spirit.
Awesome.
So,
I would love to talk to you about when the men were gone. That sounds very, very interesting.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, let's follow up and talk about that.
Did you see the movie last year, The Perfect 10? It was run the night before the Super Bowl. The 10 players in the history of football in the NFL.
Oh, yes, I did. Why? What are you referencing to specifically?
Well, that I was one of the executive producers. That was a movie I did with my son and 3 other people.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
incredible.
Yep. But that said and done, we've got to say goodbye. We'll talk about it again and get you back again. Stay well.
Sounds
Enjoy your
amazing.
upcoming
Thank you
holiday.
for this hour. It's a blessing.
No, thank you so much,
Wait,
Allison.
how does everybody find you one more time, Allison?
On Instagram, I'm on my home team turf Instagram, or Allison M. Vanthof, or my email, which Marnie has, or they can DM me through our website, myhometeamturf.com. So
You got
Great.
it. Thank you,
Great.
thank you, thank you. Marnie, Marjorie, I'm Scott. Till next time, on behalf of Allison, our special guest, for Journey Through Sports and Entertainment in Life, stay well, be safe.